Have you ever considered just firing your personal trainer and hiring artificial intelligence instead?
I mean, it's definitely something people are talking about.
Right. Think about it. There's no scheduling conflicts, no monthly fees, just you, your smartphone, and machine learning model telling you exactly how to get in shape.
It sounds like the ultimate biohacking dream, honestly.
It really does. But you know what actually happens when you hand your physical health over to a generative algorithm? Today, we are putting that exact scenario under a microscope.
And it's a really critical thing to examine right now.
Absolutely. We are analyzing a fascinating 2024 study. It was published in the Journal of Sports Science and Medicine, and it's titled ChatGPT-Generated Training Plans for Runners Are Not Rated Optimal by Coaching Experts, but increase in quality with additional input information.
Quite a mouthful, but a very descriptive title.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And this research comes to us from an international team of sports scientists. Peter Düking, Billy Sperlich, Laura Voigt, Bas van Hooren, Michele Zanini, and Christoph Zinner.
It's a brilliant piece of research, really, because it moves past all the theoretical hype surrounding large language models.
Yeah, the marketing buzz.
Right. The authors actually test ChatGPT in a highly practical and honestly potentially dangerous scenario, which is prescribing physical stress to the human body.
Which is huge.
Yeah, we aren't asking the AI to write a marketing email here. We are asking it to alter human biology.
So the mission of our deep dive today is to explore whether an AI large language model can actually successfully design a scientifically sound 6-week running plan.
And more specifically, exactly how the quality of that plan shifts based on the granularity of the information that you, the user, provide.
Right. We're going to look at the exact prompts used, the strict coaching rubric the AI was graded against, and the somewhat alarming hidden flaws in the machine's underlying logic. Okay, let's unpack this.
So to really understand the mechanics of the study, we have to look at the methodology first. Because the researchers didn't just ask ChatGPT a single simple question. They wanted to mimic the wide variety of users who might actually turn to an AI for fitness advice.
Because, some people know absolutely nothing about training, right? They provide zero context.
Exactly. While others are, absolute data nerds.
Oh, for sure. So they created 3 distinct prompts to test the AI's limits. And the progression of these prompts really reveals a lot about how we interact with technology.
It really does.
Like, prompt 1 was incredibly basic. It represented a total novice. They basically just typed, please provide me with a running training plan for the next 6 weeks.
Right. So low granularity, absolutely no context.
Nothing.
Which frankly represents how a vast majority of people interact with search engines and conversational AI today.
Oh, yeah. People expected to just know.
They expect the machine to play mind reader, They assume the algorithm will just output a safe baseline program.
Then we have prompt 2, which bumped up the granularity to a medium level. This hypothetical user gave some biological and behavioral context.
Like their age and habits.
Right. The prompt was, I am a 20-year-old male who runs 2 times a week. Each run is 8 kilometers long and takes me about 30 to 40 minutes. I have a smartwatch. I would like to increase my running performance.
So now the AI has age, baseline volume, baseline pace, and a vague goal.
Exactly. But then, moving to prompt 3, we see the high granularity input.
This one is wild.
It is. This represents a highly educated, data-savvy athlete. The user included specific physiological metrics, noting a mean heart rate of 155 to 170 beats per minute during runs.
And they clarified a lack of interval training history, which is key.
Right. They set a highly specific goal of a 3 to 5% performance improvement. And they even mentioned having access to a breathing gas analyzer, a treadmill, and a smartwatch tracking environmental temperature.
It's an incredible amount of detail.
I want to pause on that for a second, though, because that level of detail is intense. A breathing gas analyzer isn't exactly standard equipment in someone's home gym.
No, not at all.
So for someone who might not be familiar with clinical sports science, what does that device actually do, and why would an AI even care that you have one?
So a breathing gas analyzer measures the exact ratio of oxygen you consume versus the carbon dioxide you exhale while you're running on a treadmill.
Okay.
It's called metabolic testing. By analyzing those gases, a physiologist, or in this case, the AI, can pinpoint your exact VO2 max.
Which is the maximum amount of oxygen your body can utilize, right?
Exactly. But more importantly, it shows your metabolic crossover point.
What's that?
It tells you the exact heart rate at which your body stops burning fat for fuel and switches over to burning carbohydrates.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so if the AI knows you have this data, it can theoretically prescribe training zones down to the single heartbeat.
That is wild. And crucially, for prompt 3, the researchers didn't just stop at the first answer, did they?
No, they didn't. They engaged in a back-and-forth dialogue.
Right, they asked follow-up questions, what the study calls checkbacks, about specific heart rate zones, nutritional aspects, recovery procedures, and even psychological skills.
It's the difference between walking into a restaurant and just saying, feed me.
Which is prompt 1.
Right, versus handing the chef a detailed list of your macronutrient requirements, your specific food allergies, and your exact palate preferences.
I love that analogy. It perfectly illustrates the experimental design.
Because the researchers really wanted to test if a conversational AI acts like a human coach.
Right, a real coach scales their advice based on the athlete's biological and technological context.
Exactly. If you give a chef your allergies, the meal should be safer and more tailored. If you give a coach your metabolic data, they should give you a highly precise, individualized plan.
So this study is testing if the large language model actually possesses that same scaling capability.
Precisely.
Okay, so we have these 3 AI-generated training plans. But you can't just look at a spreadsheet of running workouts and intuitively decide if they are, good.
No, you definitely need a scientifically validated framework to measure whether a plan is actually optimal.
Right, you need an objective grading system, and you need highly qualified professionals to do the grading.
Which they had. The researchers recruited 10 expert raters.
And these weren't just casual runners. Every single one of these raters had a master's or a PhD in sports science.
Furthermore, they had at least 5 years of experience coaching endurance athletes ranging from Tier 2, which are trained developmental athletes,
All the way up to Tier 5, right, which are world-class elite competitors.
Yes, so these are serious experts.
And they evaluated the AI plans using a massive 22-item grading criteria, scoring each element on a 1 to 5 Likert scale.
Where 1 is bad and 5 is good.
Exactly. And they divided these 22 criteria into primary and secondary aspects. The primary aspects included things like health screening, progression of training volume, progression of training intensity, and testing procedures.
While the secondary aspects covered nutrition, recovery, and psychological skills.
Now, I have to push back on this methodology a bit.
Okay, let's hear it.
When I read through the grading rubric, 22 criteria just seemed incredibly intense for a casual 20-year-old runner who just wants to shave a few minutes off an 8K time.
I can see why you'd think that.
Like grading an AI poorly because it didn't suggest a rigorous medical health screening before a casual jogging program. It feels a bit like we are applying Olympic-level standards to a neighborhood hobbyist.
Well, what's fascinating here is that the physiology of a novice is actually more vulnerable in many ways than the physiology of an elite athlete.
Really? How so?
The strictness of this 22-point rubric is entirely about safety. Even for a casual 20-year-old, ignoring a variable like health screening can be disastrous.
Like hidden conditions.
Exactly. Undiagnosed congenital heart defects or underlying cardiovascular issues are often only triggered under intense physiological load.
But surely a casual runner isn't going to get a pre-screening EKG before doing a couch to 5K program. Isn't this an impossible standard for an AI to meet? I mean, even human personal trainers at a commercial gym often skip deep medical screenings and just have you sign a basic waiver.
That's true, but a human trainer at a gym has a distinct advantage that the AI lacks, which is visual and auditory feedback.
Oh, that makes sense.
Right. A human coach can see if you are turning pale. They can hear if your breathing becomes dangerously shallow or erratic.
You can observe your biomechanics falling apart.
Exactly. ChatGPT is completely blind. It cannot monitor your physical state during the workout it prescribes. Because it lacks that real-time observational safety net, the upfront health screening becomes exponentially more critical. The experts are grading on the standard of care required when you literally cannot physically see the athlete.
Okay, that framing completely changes how I view the rubric. The experts are looking at this through the lens of harm reduction, compensating for the AI's blindness. So let's look at the actual results. How did the machine perform under the scrutiny of these world-class coaches?
Well, the grades followed a very clear trajectory based on the prompt granularity, proving that the AI relies heavily on the context it is fed.
Right.
Plan 1, the feed me prompt, with almost no input, scored a median of 2 out of 5 across the board.
So the experts effectively rated it as bad.
Bad. It lacked individualized structure entirely. Then Plan 2, with the medium input, jumped up to a median score of 3.
So neutral. Very middle of the road.
Yeah, But Plan 3, the highly detailed prompt with the follow-up checkbacks, achieved a median score of 4 out of 5.
Wow, and it significantly outperformed Plan 1 on 15 out of the 22 grading criteria.
It really did. The output for Plan 3 is incredibly dense. If you look at the appendix of the study, the AI didn't just tell the user to run faster.
What did it do?
It confidently prescribed specific interval workouts, like 6 rounds of 400-meter intervals at a faster pace with 2-minute recovery jogs.
Wow. And when asked about heart rate, the AI calculated a target of 140 to 150 beats per minute for endurance runs.
And don't forget the psychology part.
Oh, yeah. It even produced a highly detailed 10-point list of psychological skills for the runner. It specifically recommended visualization techniques and positive self-talk to manage race day anxiety.
I mean, on paper, it looks like an incredibly sophisticated, holistic training program covering biomechanics, cardiovascular load, and sports psychologies.
It looks exceptional to the untrained eye.
Yes, to the untrained eye.
Here is where I get genuinely confused by the study's conclusion, though.
Why is that?
If Plan 3 received a median rating of 4 out of 5 from PhD-level coaches, well, in an academic setting, a 4 out of 5 is an 80%.
Right.
That's a solid B-. It's passing. So why does the paper conclude by warning us against using these AI plans without human supervision? Why are the researchers sounding the alarm over a B-?
Because averages can hide fatal flaws. Well, a plan might score a perfect 5 on outlining nutritional advice and a perfect 5 on suggesting mental imagery techniques, pulling the median score up to a 4.
Okay.
But if you dig into the granular data from the expert raters, even Plan 3 scored poorly below a 3 on the specific criterion of progression of volume.
Oh, meaning the AI told the runner to do too much, too fast.
Dramatically so. In Plan 3, the AI went from a baseline where the runner explicitly stated they do 0 high-intensity interval training to suddenly prescribing multiple sessions of 400-meter and 800-meter intervals within just a few weeks.
That's a huge jump.
And simultaneously, it increased the long-run distance. The machine was remarkably aggressive.
It was chasing that 3 to 5% performance goal the user set, but it clearly ignored the biological cost of getting there.
Exactly.
Let's dig into that biological cost.
Yeah.
What actually happens in the body when volume progresses that quickly?
We need to look at the difference between cardiovascular adaptation and musculoskeletal adaptation. I like to think of it like putting a massive, powerful sports car engine into a chassis that still has cheap, worn-out tires.
Oh, that's a great way to picture it.
Right. Your cardiovascular system, your heart and lungs, is the engine. It adapts to stress very quickly. Within a couple of weeks of aggressive training, your heart gets stronger, you pump more blood, and you feel fantastic aerobically.
You feel like you can run forever because your lungs aren't burning anymore.
Exactly the problem. The cardiovascular engine feels great, but your musculoskeletal system, your tendons, ligaments, and bones are the tires.
And they don't adapt as fast.
Not at all. Tendons, like the Achilles, are highly avascular, meaning they have very little blood flow compared to muscle tissue. Because they lack robust blood flow, they take months to structurally adapt to the impact forces of running.
So the AI builds you a massive aerobic engine, but neglects the fact that your connective tissue is still basically weak.
Yes. The runner feels great aerobically, so they push the pace on those 400-meter intervals the AI prescribed, and the tires blow out.
Ouch.
That mismatch in adaptation rates is the primary biological driver of severe overuse injuries. Things like stress fractures, shin splints, and Achilles tendinopathy.
Wow.
To a human coach, an overly rapid progression of volume is a massive red flag. If you get a 5 out of 5 on sports psychology, but you tear your Achilles tendon because the volume progressed too fast...
Then the whole plan is a failure.
Exactly. The AI does not understand the physical consequence of the spreadsheet it just generated.
And that aggressive progression leads directly to the biggest philosophical problem the researchers found in this deep dive. ChatGPT doesn't know it's being aggressive. It operates with a dangerous illusion of confidence.
That is so true. Large language models are designed to generate natural, authoritative language. ChatGPT produces answers with absolute, unwavering certainty.
It never doubts itself.
Never. It rarely uses hedging language like perhaps or consider trying. It just outputs commands, which easily tricks users into a state of unconditional trust.
And that trust is dangerous because the AI isn't actually thinking. It's predicting the next most likely word based on the massive data sets it was trained on.
Right.
The researchers highlight a brilliant example of this in the study regarding the cool-down phenomenon. In Plan 2, ChatGPT heavily recommended active recovery and jogging cooldowns as a highly effective recovery modality.
Which makes total sense if the AI is scraping the broader internet.
Right. Because if you read popular fitness blogs or mainstream magazines, everyone tells you to cool down. They claim it flushes lactic acid and prevents soreness.
But the researchers point out that current peer-reviewed sports science evidence shows that cooldowns do not actually aid physiological recovery.
Let's break down the mechanics of why that is, because I feel like everyone thinks cooldowns are mandatory.
They do. So the traditional belief was that jogging after a hard workout helps flush lactic acid from the muscles, preventing delayed onset muscle soreness, or DOMS.
Right.
However, modern physiological studies demonstrate that lactic acid clears from the bloodstream on its own within about an hour, regardless of whether you jog or just sit on the couch.
Oh, wow.
Furthermore, DOMS is caused by micro tears in the muscle fibers, not lactic acid buildup. Jogging on already microtorn fibers doesn't magically heal them. In some cases, it just adds unnecessary mechanical stress.
That is fascinating. So the AI recommended a scientifically debunked practice because it couldn't separate the noise of popular fitness influencers from the rigor of academic journals.
Exactly. It treats a highly SEO-optimized fitness blog post and a peer-reviewed meta-analysis as having the exact same weight.
It predicts text based on frequency. And the myth of the cool down is far more frequent on the internet than the clinical truth.
And beyond the quality of the data it scrapes, there's a fundamental flaw in the interaction itself.
What's that?
Throughout the entire experiment, across all 3 prompts, ChatGPT never asked a single follow-up question of its own.
Never. It just took the prompt, acted as a vending machine, and spat out a 6-week plan.
Exactly. Think about the daily reality of real coaching. A coach is constantly assessing human feedback.
Right.
If a coach prescribes 6 400-meter intervals, the very next day they ask, how did you sleep? Are you experiencing any sharp pain in your knee, or is it just dull muscle soreness?
Or what is your personal risk tolerance for pushing through this fatigue?
Exactly. The AI operates in a total vacuum. It assumes the human body will respond to the spreadsheet flawlessly. It never checks in on the human condition.
Because it currently lacks the architecture to proactively seek out the subjective lived experience of the athlete.
Right. It provides a static map for a dynamic, ever-changing biological system. If you catch a cold in week 3, or if you sprain your ankle stepping off a curb, the AI's 6-week plan is completely oblivious.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, it means that AI, in its current conversational iteration, is an incredibly powerful synthesizer of information, but it is not a reasoning agent.
It doesn't possess the biological intuition required to safely guide a human body through physical adaptation.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't differentiate between scientific consensus and popular misconception, and it cannot dynamically adjust to your daily pain or fatigue because it simply doesn't know to ask.
To summarize what we've unpacked today, AI can be a highly useful brainstorming tool for educated runners.
If you already have a deep understanding of exercise physiology and you know how to write a highly granular prompt,
And most importantly, you know how to fact-check the output and recognize when the volume progression is dangerously aggressive.
yes, then ChatGPT can save you time.
But it is definitively not a safe replacement for a human coach, especially for novices who don't know what they don't know.
It's a tool that requires the user to already possess the expertise they are supposedly seeking from the machine. If you don't know the difference between cardiovascular and musculoskeletal adaptation rates, you shouldn't let an algorithm dictate your mileage.
That leaves us with a truly provocative thought to end on, something to mull over that builds directly on where this research is heading.
I think I know where you're going with this.
The researchers noted in the study that smartwatches and wearables, like the Oura Ring, Garmin watches, or the Actia bracelet, are already collecting continuous real-time physiological data.
Oh, yeah. We are talking about heart rate variability, sleep architecture, respiratory rates, and continuous blood pressure.
The data stream we generate daily is becoming deeper and more constant.
We are walking biometric transmitters at this point.
So, as AI inevitably gets direct API access to our real-time biometrics, will the need for us to write the perfect prompt disappear entirely?
That's the big question.
Imagine a near future where the AI doesn't need to ask you how you feel, because it already knows your nervous system is fatigued based on your sleep data and resting heart rate.
It knows your VO2 max because your watch measured it during yesterday's run.
Will we see a point where the AI bypasses the conversational prompt entirely, adjusting our physical limits day by day, hour by hour, acting as an invisible, omniscient coach residing silently on our wrists.
It's wild to think about. When the algorithm no longer has to rely on the user to explain their biology, we will see a profound shift in how we interact with technology and our own physical limits.
We might not be firing our personal trainers today, but the AI is undoubtedly reading their resumes.
Well said.
If you are listening to this and want to dig deeper into the actual training plans we discussed today, I highly encourage you to read the full article. It is titled, ChatGPT-generated training plans for runners are not rated optimal by coaching experts, but increase in quality with additional input information.
It was authored by Düking, Sperlich, Voigt, Van Hooren, Zanini, and Zinner, and published in the Journal of Sports Science and Medicine in 2024.
The full AI-generated plans are available right there in the appendix for you to examine yourself.
It is well worth the read to see exactly how the machine attempts to construct a training block. And you can see firsthand the aggressive volume progressions we warned about today.
And as always, to make sure you never miss out on future evidence-based deep dives just like this one, be sure to follow the channel and turn on your notifications. Until next time, keep questioning the algorithm.